You know what it is, where the April showers get ready to come in, even though it's March, so we just rolling down the block. So now as we going up there, you know, we got butterflies in our stomach, but at the same time, this is our regular lick. You know what I mean? So we pull up in front of the building on 160th, so now we get out and we run up in the joint. So we knock on the door, boom, boom, boom. So as we knock on the door, they yell back, who is it, who is it? You know what I mean? But of course they speaking in Spanish, que pasa, and all that, but I ain't trying to hear all that crap. Just come to the door so I can rob you and get this coke and get up out of there. I know they got drugs in there. So now when I run up in there and I'm ready to go get the drugs, here go Bob looking a little nervous. So we run up in there and now we pull the pistol on him. I throw the dude against the wall. Bob come in, he throw the other dude against the wall, and I tell him, yo, where the money and the drugs, puta, you know what it is. So now we tell him that. Here he come, he like, we ain't got no drugs, Poppy, we ain't got no drugs. Man, I'm not trying to hear all that crap. You got drugs, man. So instead they come out, they bring out a little 80 grand. When they bring out the 80 grand, Bob happy with that. You know what I mean? We ain't never seen 80 grand. I'm talking about we little niggas right now. You know what I mean? So Bob come out with the 80 grand. You know what I mean? And got the little duffel bag on the ground. And I'm telling them like, nah, I know they got drugs in here. You know what I mean? Because they got to re-up. They got to have more drugs. You know what I mean? So now dude ain't trying to give it up. So I tell Bob, I know what we going to do. So I rip the lining out my coat and I stuff the 80 grand in the coat and I grab dude. I take him up the back stairs and I take him to the roof. When I get him to the roof, I figure I could scare him and put the gun in his face, threaten to shoot him, throw him off the roof. You know the whole nine. So now when we get up there ready to throw him off the roof, you know what I mean? Now all we hear is footsteps coming up. So now we hear the footsteps coming up. Next thing we hear is gunshots. Boom, 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 boom. Like, oh shit. So now I grab dude, I throw dude in front of me and I'm holding him as a shield. While I'm holding him as a shield and I'm doing my thing, he's squirming. His man come on there, so I just know he ain't gonna shoot. So I'm like, stop or I kill him, stop or I kill him. His man ain't trying to hit it, he just start busting, boom, boom, boom. So when he shoots, he hits my man that I'm holding my hostage on the right side. When he hit him on the right side, his body went limp to the left side, cause now he weak, that exposed my right side, boom. I catch a 45 in the right, you know what I mean? So now he shoots him again, boom. So now he catch him in the other side, the left side. So now he go limp to the right side. Now I catch a 38 from the other gunman in my left hip, and that joint spun me around more than the 45, the 38. I mean, come on, dog. So now I done spun around. Now he done fired again, hit me in the ass. I got shot in the right leg, left leg, you know, the ass. When I spin around, I get shot up in the chest, and I fall to the ground. But now I bust a couple times before I go off, and it got real quiet. I didn't hear nothing. I'm just laying there on the roof, my heart beating, boom, 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 boom. And I'm wondering what the hell is going on. You know what I mean? Like, yo, is this the end? I look over, I see my man Bob laying there with brain matter laid all over the floor. Oh man, not my man Bob, but I gotta get out of here. So I crawl over to the roof, you know what I mean, to the side of the roof, and I'm ready to jump off, but we 6 stories up. So how the hell I'm gonna jump? Oh my God. My bad, y'all. Hey, y'all, like I said, we on here, and I got Midwest Finest with me. I got JoJo Capone, and a good sister getting ready to break this down. You know, Justina. You know what I mean? As far as what's going on with that purge law that they're calling it, or the alleged purge law, they're gonna let us know exactly what it is and break it down. They out in Chicago and the Midwest. My brother got a good stronghold out there, so he knows more than I do out there. Like I know what's going on in New York. He knows what's going on in Chicago. So what better way to get an understanding on what's going on out there than to bring, you know, one of the mayors. You know what I mean? So I'm going to bring JoJo up. So he's going to tell you who he is, what he represents, things of that nature as far as, you know, he with the cash money, certain things. But I'm going to let him tell it, you know, for what it is. All right. Go ahead, Joe. How you doing, family? Introduce yourself.
I'm all right. Yourself? You can hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay. Yeah. Just was waiting on you to do the live stream. Got caught up. You know, they got Canelo and Triple G tonight on the fight.
Who you going for?
That's gonna be a tough one. You know, Triple G a beast. Canelo hit hard though, man. So, you know, if I gotta choose, I'm gonna go with Canelo.
Okay.
See
So
how
that's
that turn out.
that's what it is. But let them know who you are and what you have going on, your social media sites. So promote you. Let them know who JoJo is.
Okay, the global gangster JoJo Capone, Earth My Turf. Y'all know the motto. Cash Money Capone, Chirac Don. You dig? One of my monikers. Um, I stand proudly for Chicago, speaking on us with no flaws. And basically, right now, the hot topic of the city is about this purge law going on, which we've been living anyway, as all can tell. We've been living that, you know, from all these guns just popping up, in our backyards and in our alleys, out of nowhere, but they'll throw a few stories out there like, oh, some sheds got broken into, some gun stores got broken into. They'll highlight and showcase that, but it's not that many guns in that shed. You know what I'm saying? That's covering our streets from east side of town, north, south, east, and west. It's like usually you would think nothing would go on in the downtown areas, but stuff been going on in the downtown areas, the looting on a constant. To the north side, if it's a few social media pages, like Chicago Media Takeout. We have another channel on Instagram called Legal Help Firm, and that shows, majority of all the slayings that happens in throughout the city. We used to have Spot News. I don't know if they still up or not, but they report on each incident. Soon as an incident happened and they pull up to the scene, they used to post that. But I think families got in touch with the governors and the mayors, and they stopped that page, or they took those pages down. But right now we got like Chicago Media Takeout, we got Legal Help Firm page to give you a more depth look on what's going on throughout the city from a broader perspective, not being biased. I can't hear you, Unique.
Okay, we're gonna bring the young lady Justina up so she could introduce herself and let her know what her credentials are and why she's qualified and on here to break this down to give a good understanding. So we just waiting on Justina to pop back in, But other than that, JoJo broke it down proper. I figured I'd go to Chicago to find out what's going on in Chicago. So with technology, it's not like when I was on the street, we had to fly, all the way out there in
Right.
order to find out what's going on or call or whatever. So this is technology, man. So we're going to enlighten the youth on what's going on. Maybe the young brothers in Chicago is watching so that they understand that this is a setup. You know what I mean? This is a straight setup. That's all they're doing. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But Justina is off right now. Text Justina that we're ready to bring her up. I'm going to bring up Brother Youssef. He's from Miami so that you can get different perspective, you know what I mean? Across the nation to get a understanding. So if anybody like to come in and you got something sensible to say, I'll drop the link so you could come in. This is a serious podcast. This is a serious YouTube. This is about enlightening the youth. I normally do prison talk, so we're trying to prevent the youth from going to prison by telling them about the traps that they have set for them. Because when I was on the street back in the days, there was nobody to tell me anything. Now we have a powerful voice like YouTube to give positive message instead of negative message to let the youth know what's going on and the elders that might not know what is going on. So that's where we at. Yusef, I'm getting ready to bring you up, brother, so you can introduce yourself. Tell them you're gonna tell them your crime you was charged for, how much time you did, you know what I mean, how long you've been home, so they understand that I'm bringing qualified men up here. That's why I have JoJo Capone, who's qualified to speak for the Midwest, because I didn't want to say anything and misquote, you know what I mean? So I brought, one of the mayors up, you know what I mean? So tell them who you are, Yusef. Make sure your mic is unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, my name is Yusuf. I'm a former federal inmate. I've done time with about that. You know, this is a great platform that you got here. You know, I'm a part of an organization called The Father and Me. So you get some time, look it up, and it's to help at-risk youth understand that it's not cool, you know, the life we lived, led. You know, we're trying to right those wrongs that we did, you know, by helping guys that came up under us that glorified the negative things we've done. You know, so I appreciate you having me on your channel, you know, to give my input on the direction you're going. You know, I'm in Florida. The program is nationwide: Atlanta, New York, Connecticut, Florida. You know, so it's a movement. You know, and I greatly appreciate you, brother, because you've been
Thank you.
a big help to me.
Thank you. Now, just so they understand, tell them how we met in the prison so they understand the struggle and the depths of what we've been in, because nobody understands. Listen, when we on the street, we're one person, but we can move around, go where we want, do what we want. We could hide, we could travel, we could duck a text, we could duck a phone call, we could do all of that. But when you're in prison, you know who somebody is for who they are, because now everything is stripped away and you just have that person's soul in front of you. So tell them how we met and, you know, what was going on and where we met.
You know, we met at Coleman Federal Correctional Complex in Sumter, Florida. You know, we was doing time. You know, at the time you was sitting there with a life sentence over your head. You know, and your life was a law library, law work. You know, you was helping me look into my case. You know, yeah, it's not a simple ride, and jail is not fun.
And just so y'all understand, this brother is here because he's a testament to, I stayed in the law library. People laughed at me. I carried big laundry bags on my back. Sometimes I had 2 laundry bags with my legal papers in it. You know what I'm talking about, JoJo? You know what I mean? Because I know, you know, when you was fighting your joint, you know how it is, because fighters. You know?
You ain't in there trying to play no cards and no dominoes. You trying to fight for your life.
You understand? I saw a picture of me walking across the compound with 2 laundry bags at 7:30 in the morning when it's fog out and it's cold out and everybody else cuddled up watching ESPN and BT videos. I'm walking across the compound with 2 big duffel bags on my back, trying to get here to talk to y'all on YouTube to save your lives. You know what I mean? So if you don't appreciate this, I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, Justina's down there, so she's hearing my struggle. Let me bring her up so I can explain. Let her tell who she is. Then I'll finish, you know, what's going on, because this is prison talk and y'all like to hear about the prison. That's why they're here. And, you know, and the streets, you know what I mean? Justina, please introduce yourself and let them know your credentials, who you are, and why you're qualified to speak, so they know that when you speak that they need to listen, because I didn't have anyone to speak to me when I was on the street, because nobody knew the laws. There was nobody falling from the laws. I was one of the first fallen soldiers from the hood. You know what I mean? So please enlighten them who you are, sis.
Thank you for having me on. Gratitude. God bless you. Justina Winfrey, Winning with Winfrey on all social media. I come from the Austin community on the west side of Chicago and Humboldt Park. I am host of Consumer Legal Hour with the Justice Team, and we bring information to the community that's specific to our communities to ensure that our people have access to factual information. The one thing that I have worked on in the past and currently still work on is public policy and ensuring that our communities understand how legislation impacts us directly. It, not necessarily, again, at, you know, in Congress. Ultimately, the local legislation matters a lot. A lot of times it comes a lot sooner than the federal legislation as far as the implementation. So case in point, several years ago, Rep. Ford lobbied, State Representative Ford, he's a state representative from the west side of Chicago, proposed legislation to eliminate cash bonds specifically for petty crimes, minor offenses. We're not talking about murder, robbery. The rhetoric that's circulating right now on the internet is not, it's the information's not accurate. And the one thing that I want to point out is that when you look at the information that's circulating throughout social media, you don't see any branding on those flyers. You don't see any recourse of, who ultimately put this information out there to the public. However, when you actually just simply look at the information regarding the intent of that legislation, the intent of the SAFE-T, SAFT Act, is specifically to ensure that people, and I'll give, this is a quote from Rep. Ford. Ford said there's a misconception that criminals will be set free when this measure goes into effect. Now, let's be clear, the bill limits who can be arrested and jailed depending on the crime, okay? Ultimately, Illinois lawmakers have opposing views regarding the SAFE-T Act, and that means ultimately that the information that we're seeing on social media and nationally now at this point, it's intended to confuse voters because we're in the middle of election season right now. And it's also intended to confuse the community so that they believe that they won't be safe, that people will be set free. Hence, purge. There is no purge law. Period. There is no purge law, okay? This particular legislation was simply intended to not, okay, I'll give you a prime example. Brother Khalid out of New York and Rikers Island. That situation in which that happened to the young man, where it was a very, very petty, minute crime that he hadn't even been proven guilty on, didn't have the money to cover the bail, and ultimately wound up being housed for way too long in a volatile prison for an extremely small crime that he was accused of. Okay. With that said, Rep. Ford proposed this legislation to ensure that young men like Brother Khalid would no longer be subjected to sitting in a volatile prison environment for a minute accusation. Okay, so just let's be clear again, there is no purge law. That's not the intent here. There is no purge law. People are not going to be just set free for no reason. Okay, actually, forgive me, Rep. Ford is trying to join the call. State Representative LaShawn Ford is trying to join the call right now.
Okay, like I said, I'm gonna bring JoJo up so JoJo could explain that. No disrespect, Justina, from a street perspective, because sometimes we need a translator to talk to our people. Hey, you know what I mean? So JoJo, please explain to her what she said in your words and the way you interpreted it, because all we speaking on is our interpretation of the law, because it's not in the.
And you brought me in. I was just trying to bring some more aldermen in, but I had to switch back up on the on the up here. Okay, so basically, like,
now again, I can take you off for you to do what you're doing, and then you come back up. Just give me a thumbs up.
Did the person that you tried to bring on, Justina, is he ready now? Is he on?
Yes, he's signing on now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to have the representative speak because, like I said, this is not for views. This is for information to hopefully save someone's life and liberty, to prevent them from going to jail. That's what this is about. So I don't care
Right.
about getting 10,000 views. If you don't want to watch this to save, your loved ones' lives, out there in that area, then you don't watch it, and then you go visit them in prison for 26 years and hope that they beat their case, to get off the life sentence that I did. So I'm just trying to bring the information, man. That's all we're doing. You know what I mean? So
And I want to personally thank Justina too, and the team of people that she have to help me reach out to get expungements and clear my record as well. They just cleared one, and I go back up before the board on the 22nd of this month. So hopefully they can expunge and squash everything, So I'm looking forward to that. I'm been happy for that myself. So, basically you got to think, if the purge thing was really real or whatever going on with it, I want to be able to protect myself too. I don't want to be told, hey, I'm a felon, so I got to be a victim. You know what I'm saying? So if I can squash and expunge felonies off my record to where I can get a concealed and carry, doing any troubling times, I would feel much better to be able to do so, So they threw that out there for a reason. We can get to the bottom line of it. It's so much stuff come on the news about it every day. It's different stories. 1 minute they saying the Republicans putting it out there. The next minute they saying the Democrats putting it out there, or they doing it just because they trying to gentrify the neighborhoods once they do the panic tactics and panic scare and people start scattering and moving. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like. That's one of the big ploys of it too. So, once the brother get on, he can speak his piece as well. And I'm gonna see if Mark jumps on when he get a chance, if he responded back yet.
Okay, let me say this, right? Let me jump in. This is for Justina, Yusef, and my brother Jojo Capone. They know me and they know me well. Like I said, Yusef know me when I was stripped of everything, where I had the same beige outfit as everyone, and I could only spend $250 a month on the commissary. It didn't matter how much thousands I had on my books. I spent the same thing as every other inmate in the uniform. What I'm trying to do with this channel is prevent the youth from going down the right path. I'm just meeting Justina tonight. So Justina, if there's any way I could fit in your criteria to help, I would help. Now, let me say who I am so you know who I am, because you're just meeting me as well. My name is Unique. I came from Jamaica in 1970 to escape the political wars of Jamaica. When I came up here, it wound up going into 1980, the deadliest war in Jamaica. Remember that famous picture they got with Bob Marley holding up the two white men's hands? That was the Trump and the Biden of our era. You know what I mean? We had Manley and we had Ciega. Manley was the Biden. Ciega was the Donald Trump. You understand what I'm saying? Where they pushed their agenda as they did. But back then, when they came in, the same way they got all this stuff going on, I don't want to get too political, but back then in Jamaica, they handed out guns to us and told us to kill the opposition. Anyone that went to go vote for the opposition by putting a vote in a ballot box. We had a wooden box that people write who they want to put on it and put Manley or Ciega and drop it in. It was that basic. It wasn't no computer, wasn't no talent, no, you know what I mean? No computers and none of that. Then they went and picked up the ballot box. I was 7, 8 years old. They paid kids like me to go burn those boxes down in the neighborhoods that they knew they wasn't going to get the vote in. So the same way they doing they're trying to put the votes, trying to desegregate, making the voting for the black people in Texas, where the only place to vote is miles away that they can't get to prevent them from voting. They paid us, to what they call shillings. So we don't have 5 cents, 10 cents, and 20 cents. I'm giving you all the jewels. They paid us 2 shillings to go burn the box down as a child. You understand what I'm saying? Now they gave the older ones pistols, 38s and things like that. Then it went up to, bigger guns to go shoot anyone that was putting a vote in the box when we're telling them not to vote. That's how serious the vote is. Martin Luther King fought for the civil rights movement for us to have the right to vote. Down there, that's how we prevented the vote. Nowadays, they're doing it by making the map, you know what I mean, where the people that could vote is this and that. So, the Republicans will make, the Democrats, people that vote for the Democratic people, make the voting poll so far away that they can't get there, where the Democrats now got to send buses to bus people there. So it's putting you through a whole lot of stress just to cast a vote, and then we don't believe in the vote. You understand what I'm saying? That our vote count. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's how that go in. So now when I came up here to America to escape that, my family escaped me from down there for that. The same political warfare and carnage that was going on in Jamaica, you know what I mean? Now, my comrades that I grew up with and my opposition comrade, my ops, as they call it, because y'all in Chicago that's listening, they, you know what I mean? We came to America and went to Brooklyn, Miami, you know what I mean? And then branched out to Texas. You understand what I'm saying? But while this is going on, we have to worry about our soldiers, our comrades we left behind. So we started selling drugs to send the guns back so they could protect themselves during election time, because during election time, when the government was giving out guns, we had to have guns to protect ourselves. You know what I mean? So that when they come shooting at us. So this is how serious the vote is. If y'all can't understand this, I don't know what to tell you. You understand what I'm saying? But then now I come up here, and by 1980, we had the deadliest, you know, war on our island's history, because they started handing out machine guns for us to kill each other to prevent the vote, because they promised to build little shanty houses for us, like sheds in our neighborhood, and then give us jobs to do that. So now we ain't got 2 shillings to rub together. That's like 2 pennies or 2 nickels. But, you know, we ran by the British Republic, so we had shillings and pence. You know what I mean? 50 cents in Jamaica when I left Jamaica was on a piece, was on a dollar bill, was on like a dollar bill, but that was a 50-cent piece. So imagine having a stack of 50-cent pieces like this, and you only got $5, but you got a pocket full of money. That's how crazy and twisted it was. But I'm bringing y'all the real from how it went to give y'all a visual of what's going on. So when I come up now, I got all my other brothers and comrades that I left behind that came to America. And then now here goes heroin at the time. Because we talking about 1980, this before crack cocaine. So we came up selling heroin to make money to take care of ourselves and send money back to our comrades and our family members in Jamaica. You know what I mean? Then 85, then the crack came out. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just letting y'all know how serious it is. But I got caught up in that whole whirlwind and got mentally twisted up and wound up going to the Bronx to work with my brother and the Rastafarians selling weed where they ain't have nothing to do with selling cocaine or heroin. That's how the Rastafarians was back in the 80s. If you was wearing dreadlocks in your hair back then, they was stopping you and cutting the dreadlocks off your hair because they didn't want to have a bad name. That's the same thing, like how they got the gangs and gang members that's doing things that they think didn't follow under Larry Hoover's, you know, movement or Tookie Williams movement. So we took it to the extreme where if somebody was, you know, wearing our colors, let's say for the Bloods or the Crips, and they wasn't representing what we represented, you know what I mean? We took those colors off their back. I'm talking about, imagine somebody walking down the street with dreadlocks and a dude pull you over and cut your dreads off because they're telling you don't perpetrate what we are because we don't want to have a bad name 30 years from now. I hope y'all understand, you know what I mean? So all this ties in to the Purge law because it's election time. When it's election time, they try and scare the people. You understand? Back then, they handed out guns, like I said, and they paid little 7-year-old boys to burn ballot boxes. Now they put in the media that, you know what I mean, we're going to let all the murderers and killers and rapers and anybody get locked up. They get an ankle bracelet and they get released from the crime. You know what I mean? So imagine somebody getting killed and getting released, you know what I mean, right there on the spot and just get an ankle bracelet. Then they can't track them down if they cut the ankle bracelet off for 2 days. So they get them 48 hours to get from here to Alaska. Y'all heard all that was going on. Am I right or wrong, Sister Justina and Brother Jojo? So that's how they mix the two in. So I understand what's going on from a different standpoint. So that's why everyone is talking about how crazy it is in Chicago. The gangs are doing this, this is doing that. I look at it like I was a youth back then that did the same things that they did, but I wasn't labeled a gang. I was labeled a posse. Because me a Jamaican, so a Jamaican and label posse. Them call them posse because back then we only have one TV and a host. And one TV channel upon the station, upon the island, and all them show is cowboy and Indian movie. And when somebody broke the law, them go roll up a posse and go track down the criminal. You understand what I said? So I understand it from a different point of view. So I'm trying to bring it to you from my point of view. Then I got Justina bringing it from a legal point of view, and JoJo bringing it from a street point of view, and Yusuf over here to help us understand it from a Miami point of view. So I'm bringing all angles to the table so that the youth in Chicago, because everybody say, oh, they're killing each other. Well, what are we going to do about it as the elders? This is what Unique Mecca Audio is trying to do about it as an elder. You understand who I am a little bit now, Justina? So now, please, let's go back into the purge law. I just wanted to let y'all know that this is how, we did the purge back then by paying 7-year-old and 8-year-olds to go burn a ballot box so that all the votes in it won't be counted because they're burnt. So they can't do like they do nowadays and say, let's have a recount. Let's put our own people, somebody from the Manly Party or the Siega Party or the Republican Party or the Democratic Party to count the vote, because there ain't no votes. Once you set that fire, the vote is gone forever. You understand? So now they're manipulating technology. So Justina, from what I just said, what I would really like is for you to explain that in your own words and tie that into the purge law on what's going on from what I told you, how I came up all the way back in 72 to 1980. Please.
You said a lot, and you wrapped it up fast so that people could just understand the history from the 70s through the 80s and the 90s. I'm going to tie this part in under the Clinton administration. There was, and you actually brought that up, there was the anti-gang law. Well, in the city of Chicago, at the time, this was about 2018, the 28th Ward alderman decided to attempt to pass a city ordinance, and Brother Mark Carter can attest to this. He was a part of the crew that we reached out to, and they shut that ordinance down. That ordinance was a mirroring ordinance of the anti-gang legislation under the Clinton administration that was struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1999. Do you recall back from 94, 95 through 99, they just went through the entire nation and all of the hoods and just started locking people up, kind of like back in the day with the you couldn't have more than 2 people standing together. They would automatically say that was a gang, and then they would go to jail. Well, that was due to gentrification, because they basically cleared the land. So actually, my cousin, Edwin Davila, is a part of the Guevara victims, the 56 young men who were targeted in Chicago, in Humboldt Park and on the west sides of Chicago, in a drug ring that the police had going on. My cousin he was just released in February after serving 25 years for a murder he didn't commit. And ultimately, the police targeted gang leaders. They targeted guys who beat murder cases, people that ultimately should not have gone to jail for crimes that they didn't commit. But this particular ordinance under the Clinton administration, the anti-gang legislation that was struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1999, once again, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office basically recused themselves from all of those cases. So the Anita Alvarez campaign to get Kim Foxx in, well, 18 of the 56 have been exonerated. Had Illinois not had a law in place to abolish the death penalty, one of those brothers would not be out right now. He was exonerated. They commuted his sentence from the death penalty to life, and he was exonerated after serving 25 plus years for a murder that he did not commit. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me say this, right? I want to interject to say this because, I'm the mediator. I'm the judge right now. All right? So now, when I hear you say someone was innocent, you understand what I'm saying? I went to jail in 1993. Back then, the media was putting out there that everyone is saying they're innocent. You understand what I'm saying? I was guilty of sin. let's say that I'm gonna take my responsibility, and I apologize for poisoning my community and everything. I was guilty of sin, but now the media was putting out there that all inmates were saying they was innocent. You understand? To overshadow the ones that they was illegally locking up, that they was coercing to take guilty pleas, like they did the brothers in the Central Park incident. You understand what I'm saying? So now I just interjected to say that when she's saying that these brothers was exonerated and that they was innocent, I don't want the people of 2022 to go back into the mindset of 1992 that the media put out there, that no one was innocent, like the system was working 100% right. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was never working right. It was working right because they locked my black ass up because I was a criminal. But then I went in, I couldn't read it right. You know what I mean? Brother Yusef that's up there, you know, he didn't even know I couldn't read it right. I used to give my brother things. So when you can't read it right, you learn manipulative ways to get other people to read things for you without telling them that you feel stupid because you never went to school to learn to read and write because you was busy out there selling weed and carrying on the street. But you know, I say that to say that that's the only reason I cut in. I'm going to let you finish, Justine, and JoJo could come in, or Yusef or whoever. I don't want to dominate it, but I just wanted to speak on that. When she say, or anyone up here say, that someone was illegally convicted, don't get caught up in the mind frame like the system work and they only lock up guilty people. I'm innocent. I'm guilty as sin. So let's get that right. But there is a lot of brothers that I met in the system that was innocent. That was innocent. And I'm sure you met a few, right or wrong, Yusef?
Yeah, I've met a few guys that were innocent. I've met a few guys that were guilty. Like in my case, I could say this. I was guilty for carrying a gun, but my rights were violated because, you know, they stopped me without probable cause and pat me down and violated Terry stop, you know. So it goes both ways, you know. We have a judicial system that's crooked. So, you know, we fighting the devil war also.
Yes.
You know, it's just not about guilty or innocent because can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We definitely could hear you.
Yeah, you know, because we have a lot of innocent officers out there that are guilty of crimes, that committed crimes against us that's worse than anything we've done. I can't hear you.
No, I didn't say anything. I was letting you speak. Justina put something up that we're going to put on the screen so Justina could explain because you wanted to speak on that, right, sis?
Absolutely.
Okay, put
And
what Justina put up there. 1 second, sis. Put what Justina put up there, and Justina, read it to the people and explain it because this is your floor to enlighten the people of Illinois.
so this is a list of some of the young men who have recently been exonerated after, again, 18 of the 56. When we went through the cases, we found that 30, and let's be clear, Edwin Davila was arrested on my birthday, July 9th, 1995. We were barbecuing at his house. He went to the payphone to make a simple call to check on his baby and his woman. And I hadn't seen my cousin until this year. Okay. So that's him right there. Let's be clear. 35 judges were involved in this. All right. There were about, I want to say, 18 lawyers, public defenders who were all involved. A lot of the cases did not go to trial. The attorneys advised them to take bench trials, and the the judge delivered the verdict within 20 minutes, okay, for a lot of the cases in less than an hour. So with that said, that was the 1999 the US Supreme Court legislation that was struck down. Ultimately, a lot of people still wound up being in prison as a result. And Some of them are being released now. Some of them are being exonerated. The point is, what we do know is that in Illinois, at least 22,000 people are being released this year in 2022 alone. 22,000. We do know from research that there are more guards than inmates in the prisons right now. Okay. So, what we have to be aware of is that, as you know, where there's poverty, there will be crime. If we bring in programs now, I'm shifting to the solutions, right? Because we all know what the problems are in the hood. The real problem is crime, is poverty, not crime. The mayor herself, Mayor Lightfoot, stated clearly the problem that we're dealing with is, as well as you know, and I know, are crimes of poverty.
Okay.
How?
Excuse me 1 second. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say this because, like I said, being that I'm the judge, you know what I mean? There's two things you said that I'd like you to clarify. First, explain what a bench trial is.
A bench trial is when the judge makes the ultimate decision based on the evidence that have been presented at during the course of the motions that have been submitted. Without getting into great detail, the jury trial is where you ultimately have your peers make the ultimate decision on the case. Here's the thing: if your lawyer advises you to take a bench trial versus a jury trial, a lot of people are trusting that their lawyer is giving them the best advice.
Okay, now I would like to say this with that, because I said I've been through all of that, you know, because they asked me if I wanted a bench trial, you know, which is the judge to decide, or a jury trial. Now, the way I interpreted it is that a bench trial is where you feel you have a legal technicality and you want the judge to hear that from a legal point of view. Like Yusef said, as far as he felt his Fifth Amendment rights was violated, or whatever, you know, Fourth Amendment, you know what I mean, rights was violated. So he would have chosen a bench trial. So it's not like you always want a jury trial. A jury don't know the law. Mm-hmm. You understand? But a judge knows the law. So if Yusef is saying I was guilty of having a gun all day, I had the gun, but the way they put me over, they didn't read me my Miranda rights. That's where they got to say you have the right to remain silent. You know what I mean? Anything you say can and will be used against you. And that's why I have these shirts that I don't want to be misconstrued, that says you have the right to remain silent, because no one teaches us that. But the judges, lawyers, corporation owners teach that to their kids. If you get locked up, you know what I mean? Like George Bush said that he got high. You know, Obama said he smoked a joint. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, if you feel that you violated the law, but they violated your rights, that's why you have the right to remain silent. You can cop this at Unique Make Audio along with the book of Merc, Rowan Hall. I'm not plugging my joint, but just want you to understand that what this shirt is about, that you have the right to remain silent. And the way you know, the upper middle class and the people in society that know better, they teach their kids, if you get pulled over for DUI, don't say nothing, even if you're drunk. Wait till your lawyer come and let your lawyer speak in your defense. You understand? So now when you're talking about a jury trial, that's when you want all the evidence to go out, because they put in a lot of what they call overt acts and predicate acts and all of this stuff, where they're trying to throw a lot of wood on the fire to make a big flame. So you take a jury trial because you want it to be explained that this is a lot of wood. Yeah, my co-defendant shot this person. My co-defendant robbed this person. My co-defendant raped this person. But that have nothing to do with me. So that's why you take a jury trial where you separate those two. But if you feel your rights are violated and you're dealing with rights, then you would take a bench trial. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified that what you said, because maybe you didn't know yourself, Justine, or maybe you did know. But I just wanted the people that's watching to understand the full meaning of truth. Sometimes it is good for a bench trial. If you're dealing with an issue like what Yusef said he was dealing with, that his rights was violated, the jury's not going to understand your rights, but the judge will. So that's why you chose a bench trial. Am I right or wrong, Yusef, Jojo? Please correct me. I
right.
can stand to be corrected.
No, you're 100%.
And sometimes people don't want they livelihood put in the hands of 6 strangers. So they feel better with just going one-on-one with the judge, because the judge gonna make the ultimate decision anyway. So it's like, why put 6 people that could be prejudiced of you and give them some insight or a voice on your life? So a lot of times people just go straight for a bench trial anyway. But what she was mentioning earlier, what she was mentioning earlier about what we dealt with out here in Chicago and Illinois, we had he was either a sergeant, superintendent, whatever, Edward Burns. He would do terrorist tactics on civilians, making them admit to crimes that they didn't do. So it was about 70, probably to more people that came home off him getting found guilty for those crimes that he was committing on people. And our last of our 4 governors been to the federal penitentiary for their wrongful dealings in this state. You know what I'm saying? So we've been through a lot that a lot of people didn't know of outside of here. You know, so it's so much underbelly things that go on in here. We the city of big shoulders. We the windy city. You know, we shy town, but ain't nothing shy about us. You know, and we really do live in impoverished neighborhoods to where it's that you don't stand a chance. You know what I'm saying? We the most segregated state in the country, and it's been that way for I don't know how long.
Because I'm getting ready to give me a plug when I get a chance to talk. Mm-hmm.
Huh? I can't hear you.
All right, there we go. All right, listen. So you understand that brother I just put on the screen, Gangsta Lou. You understand? So y'all understand. Justina, I want you and both Jojo Capone to meet my brother, Gangsta Lou.
I know Lou.
Yeah, exactly. Because remember when you came to New York, I put you with Tone Capone, Gangsta Lou. They just did a record together. I want y'all to understand that that's one of the brothers that support the young brothers. You understand what I'm saying? All the stuff you hear on YouTube and the way you see him on YouTube, the way he come off, because he's everything that he say he is. He's from my era. That's my brother. That's not my friend. Let's get that right. That's my brother. You understand what I'm saying? That's a brother that been through the struggle, and he's working with the youth, the young gang members, to try and guide them in the right way. Because when people hear the word gangs, they think negative. You understand? But you got good brothers like Gangsta Lou. Gangsta Lou told me last time I seen him, I brought a couple of my good brothers from Washington, D.C. to see him. You know what I mean? Rat. No, he's not a rat. That's his name. You know what I mean? I brought my man Rat, my man L.A., you know what I mean? My man Larry Moe. Anytime the good brothers come, I take them to go see Gangsta Lou because they want to meet the real man of the street. This is a real man from the street. And he's out there every day trying to work with the young, as y'all call them, gangbangers, to keep them on the right path. Because when the movement was started, it was the same thing. It was for the same purpose as, you know, as Tukey did when he started the Crips. You know what I mean? Not mixing the two. I'm biased. I'm not a blood. I'm not a Crip. I'm not any of that. But when you hear gangs, don't think negative. You know what I mean? They came to try and interject positiveness in our community and for us to get our rights heard. When I was in Lewisburg, I got involved in a riot. They said I was the leader of the riot, allegedly, you know what I mean? And all it is. When that went on, it was an older brother named Harris L. We call him Mo. When I was doing my thing, it was for the crack law riot. You know what I mean? They had a vote on if they're gonna make 1 gram of crack equal to 100 grams of powder, because the white people was the ones that was using powder cocaine. And so you had to get caught with 100 grams before you could get the same amount of time as a black person with 1 gram that they put in the pipe and they smoke with 1 hit of the torch. or one hit of the lighter. You know what I mean? But when the older brothers would say, "Man, Mo, talk to him. You know, Unique bugged out. You know, he crazy. You know, blah blah blah," and they said all that. But that was just the blood of Marcus Garvey in me was fighting for my people. The crack law, the 1 gram to 100 grams didn't have nothing to do with me because I had 255 keys. If you got 5 keys, it's automatically life. You got level 42, Justina, you know it's automatically life on the scale. I had level 50 for 250 because they didn't even want to go no higher because they went up to a level 100. So either way, I was getting life. But they tried to get Mo to stop me from having the brothers that was with me stand up for this unjust law that was going on, even though it didn't affect me. They like, Unique, it ain't got nothing to do with you. But that's why I mentioned Gangsta Lou and put my brother up there on the screen. Please put his name back up there. You know, this is a brother that even though things might not affect him, it affects his community and he cares about his community. And that's why he's my brother. You understand? That's why he's my brother. I don't see him every day. I don't talk to him every day. I don't have to, but he's in my heart. You understand? Because we fighting for the same cause to uplift our people, the same as Jojo Capone up here and the same as my man Yusuf up here. If Gangsta Lou would like to tap in, you're welcome to tap in. If not, sit back, enjoy the show. But I'm definitely going to give you your flowers while you're alive because you deserve it. They listen to you talk on YouTube and say he gangster. No, he's a man that stand on man principles and man rights and rules, regulations, and morals. And that's what I stand for. And that's how we became brothers. He's more my brother than the brother that I have with my blood in me. So you understand how I move, Justina. You just meeting me. So the people understand how I move. You know? Now let's
and you got to understand too, Unique. We gotta stop the point of we know who called us gangsters. We know who called us posses. It was the government. You know what I'm saying? We was just a brotherhood. They called us those names to criminalize us. You know what I'm saying? So every chance I get, I tear that stereotype down about us because what she was explaining earlier about two or more people was the mob action law that we had out here. Now, if just say like with my grandmother, it's 17 of them siblings. So if they walk into school 17 deep, saying mother and father, you impose the law that you can take them to jail. So that was violating their rights. So we just been dealing with our rights being violated here in Illinois and really around the world. But here in Illinois, since we speaking on Illinois at this moment, we've been dealing with that our whole life. So we became accustomed and immune to it.
Oh, go ahead, Justina.
And that's why I work with brothers like you, brothers like JoJo, brothers like Mark, and God bless you, Brother Yusuf, to be acquainted with you now. Although my voice may not be heard by men, okay, it's a lot different coming from you all right? Again, that perfect example, being able to reach out to Brother Mark Carter and say, brother, they're getting ready to pass legislation right before kids get out of school. Why did I care? Because I have 4 sons. My youngest is 16, 4.0, headed to college this year. My oldest is 25, okay? 12 years on a first offense, straight out of high school. All right, so that's just a brief synopsis of I have no girls. I have 4 sons. With that said, we shut that legislation down because, as Brother JoJo indicated, anything past 2 people standing out on a block and they check your ID and you don't live on that block, you're getting locked up. They called it anti-loitering legislation. Got with Brother Mark Carter, put the message out to everybody. The guys went and shut it down.
Is Mark on here?
He's
is
not
Mark
yet.
On here?
Brother Mark isn't yet. But from a public,
because I've been invited him on here, so I didn't know if he was on here because I couldn't close out the screen to check.
Okay, from a public policy standpoint, though, gentlemen, you need and brother, thank you for bringing that up to ensure that everybody's clear about the bench trial versus the jury trial. Thank you for elaborating on that. I'm clear on it. I'm just trying to give an overview without doing a deep dive into everything, because that's for another time. But the point is, if our people don't understand public policy on the front end, okay, instead of being reactive. And I'm thankful that this show is in place now so that we can be proactive and have more of our community understand and communicate with the state legislators, to be very honest with you, because if you vote, like we go back to the very beginning of what you said, the vote is what matters. What's important for the current incumbent, the person who is already in office, is that you don't vote, is that you don't register to vote. Why? Because they count those votes as if you're not, those votes count toward them, if that makes sense. I'm saying this to say that I ran for city council in the city of Chicago during a very volatile time. And 2 people got shot, 1 person was murdered, okay? For local offices, when we talk about power and control, politics is a gang. Let's be clear. To my understanding, no different than sororities and fraternities clicked up back in the day to protect themselves from being, targeted while they were simply trying to go to college. And understand that my family comes from Puerto Rico. So they came during a time when blacks and whites didn't like them. So they had to click up. So the truth of the matter is, when we talk about gangs, we have to get past that statement in itself, because the West Side elected officials and the South Side elected officials, for lack of better terms, they gang bang all the time.
Okay, let me say this. I'm glad you said that. You know what I mean? I'm glad you said that.
Look, Unique, before you stop, my phone finna cut off. So okay. We had a bill, but my battery at 1% is blinking. So I don't want to mess up the rest of the show. So I was here for an hour. Much love and respect to everybody that's on here.
Plug your phone in, and please come back. You're needed. Please. I'm going to bring you off the screen, plug your phone in. I'm going to keep this going, but we do need you back on here because you're the voice for the Chicago.
Well, hold on.
All right, so I'm gonna pull JoJo off, and I'm gonna say what I gotta say. JoJo, come back in and give me a thumbs up.
Just talk. You don't gotta cut me off.
Okay, all right, yeah, but I don't want to see you moving around either, because I want to distract the people from what we're saying. So when you're ready,
they listening. Unique. They listening. They ain't watching. They listening. Talk to them, man.
That's what Talk to them. Hey, listen, that's what I'm saying. Check me when I'm wrong, my brother. That's what brothers do. We don't take it personal when a homie tell us, yo, you wrong, homie. They're listening. You understand what I'm saying? That's how I know.
And I know it's something that I wanted to change for you, because you said you was sending them. You don't want to send the children down the right path, but you meant to say the right path, not the wrong path, because they'll take that and run with it. Like, oh, you hear what he said? But you misinterpreted. You misinterpreted. So I'm cleaning that up for him. He want to take them down the right path. He didn't mean to say the wrong path. Before y'all try to take that and run with it.
That's how family and teamwork work. Now, I want to say this.
Exactly.
I want to say this about the gangs, so y'all understand when you hear the word gangs. Now, I've been in prison since 1993, when Rikers Island was just starting, as far as in the early 90s, with the gangs evolving. You understand what I'm saying? So I got locked up in 93, where I'm on the streets of 8th Avenue and Mecca Audio and all that. So I didn't run into a bunch of Bloods or Crips, you know what I mean, from New York City. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't run into all of that. When I got locked up in 93, I went to Lewisburg in 94, ADX in 95. By 1996, the media had already started its manipulation propaganda, you know what I mean, to go after our youth and labeling them as gangs and putting negativity on it. When the gang started in Rikers Island to defend themselves, you know what I mean, from the Latin community that had the gangs, and they was a little stronger or whatever till they came together. So that's why if my brother Gangster Lou's still on here, I would like him to come on to explain more about the gangs, how they started, things like that, because I don't know. And I'm man enough to say what I know.
And another clarity, unique. It's the brotherhood. We are brotherhood. We not gangs.
No,
we
I'm
was
saying
called gangs by the government.
Thank you for that.
So we the brotherhoods. We not no gang. They put that jacket on us, man.
Thank you. That's what
I'm saying. To criminalize us.
That's what I'm saying. I used to get the Daily News and the Post sent to me for $2,000 a month while I was in ADX to know what was going on in New York City. And that's what they labeled them as. So forgive me for even labeling them as a gang when, like Brother Jojo corrected me just now. And I humbly accept that correction, that it's a brotherhood. You understand what I'm saying? So no way am I trying to disrespect anybody. I'm just telling about the way the media projected it to me. But at the same time, I had my own mind to be able to comprehend what was going on. But now they started, let's see this comment on the screen. What is that? The government is the gang. Okay, we're going to get into that later. But let me finish what I'm saying about this so you understand. I'm in a jail cell in ADX, Colorado, like 8 stories underground in the Supermax. And I'm getting this newspaper delivered to me for $2,000 a month for each newspaper. $4,000 a month for me to know what's going on. I just learned to read it right now. I don't have to just look at the pictures in the newspaper. And now I can read the article to see what they're talking about. Because when I went in, I couldn't read it right. But now when that started, I seen where they was going with it because they used the Rico law, that's 18 USC, I think 1956. And then they used the CCE law, which is 21 USC 848, which is what they got me for when they feel you're a drug kingpin. Now, they use that to get the blacks off the streets back in the 80s and 90s. And Joe Biden signed that bill in. And, you know what I mean? It was already in place where they was planning this movement from the Reagan and Bush era. That's when Nancy Reagan went up there and said that she's not here for the drugs. You know what I mean? She's here, for the politics or whatever she said. You understand what I'm saying? And she went up there and did that. But now I saw where they started targeting, where they was making their implementation to go after the brotherhood, as Brother Jojo corrected me, AKA the gangs. You know what I mean? So now they're using the Rico to take gang members off the street. They use the CCE to take drug dealers off the street. I'm in New York City. Let's get that straight. I'm doing my thing in New York City. I'm selling 25 keys a day up Washington Heights. I own a big $1 million club. I got everybody coming up there. None of that is said to be bragged or boast about. Let's get that straight. But I'm just letting you get a clear picture of what was going on. So they needed to get me off the street. So they used what they call the continual criminal enterprise to say that I continuously violated the drug laws, when the whole time I never had a drug charge in my life. So how did I continuously violate the drug law? I didn't. But what they did was they figured that only way to get me off the street was to say that I continuously violated this law. So now they grabbed 5 other people that they felt was around me, or as they say, under me, that I controlled. Then they said that I made substantial income. That's the second element. Then they said that 5 or more people, substantial income, that had a continuing series, which was 3 or more drug violations when I never had one. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't even remember the other 2 because I've been out of prison, a long time and tried to block out a lot of that. But I'm just trying to give you all the insight. So they used that to take me off the street. Now they're using the Rico. They use the Rico to take a lot of brothers off the street. At the same time, they use the CCE, continual criminal enterprise. Now they're using the Rico to get the brotherhood off the street. You understand what I'm saying? So they use these laws to go after the minorities, to decrease the population and give what they call the ultimate birth control. If they put us in prison, we can't reprocreate. You understand what I'm saying? So I fell into all of that with the CCE from in the 90s. Now here it is in 2022, they're using the Rico law to get people off the streets. So they say you got 5 or more gang members or 5 or more brothers from the brotherhood congregating on a corner, that's against the law. in prison, they started that first. When we was in prison, we used to be able to go out there 20 deep. We hold cipher for the 5%er. I was a 5% at the time. We held rap ciphers where brothers rapped, and it might be 200 dudes there, and dudes rapping with each other in the yard, and we passing time and all of that. The tower's watching. They got their guns up there. They got everything going on, but we're just having fun, passing time, releasing steam, and expressing who we are in our art while we're in prison. You understand? So then they made a law within the prison, you know what I mean? What they call a rule, you know what I mean? Saying that you can't have more than 3 or more people in a group walking the track in the prison. When all we was doing was just rapping, passing time. The same way, like JoJo just said, you might have 17 family members coming from a cookout and walking to the local store to go get some more zoom zooms and wham whams, and we call in prison potato chips, pretzels, and a couple of cases of beer. Now they say that that's a gang, aka the brotherhood. You understand what I'm saying? So they started going after the brotherhood by implementing the law to manipulate it and intertwine it together to say that they're violating. Now, Sister Justina, please explain what you got from what I just said in your own words, because I just talk hood. You know what I mean? We can't hear you.
Both of y'all was glitching.
Yeah, no, she had the mute on because she was being respectful. Thank you, Justina. Go ahead, Justina.
So just no problem. Just to touch on what you were saying. So when you spoke on the Rico, a lot of times people think federal racketeering charges. Now their states are adopting these laws now.
Young Thug and Gunner.
It's so bad. And ironically, Illinois was the first state to try state Rico charges. And I was trying to pull the case up. I just pulled it up. But ironically, they came through the West Side. They came through Monroe and Pulaski. And as you know, Brother JoJo, the first Rico charges, they found a body buried in a shallow grave off of Monroe and Pulaski, right on the West Side. And they basically rounded up everybody.
If you can repeat that, because you glitched. I don't know if you just glitched on my end or for everybody.
Probably back in like 2013, 2014, they rounded up a lot of guys right off of Monroe and Pulaski, and they found a body in a shallow grave. Well, a lot of people wound up going to jail. A lot of people wound up getting, they got a lot of time for it under the state Rico law. Illinois was the first state to try cases under a state Rico law, and now it's being replicated and scaled throughout the nation. And as you said, Brother, Gunna and Young Thug.
Unique.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you. You see the comment that was put up there? The Rico, she got the link to the Rico. If y'all would like to see what the Rico is. If you put something up, Justina, please explain that and explain the link so that people understand what you're putting up and what you're saying, because this is just as much your time to shine as all of us on here.
Unique, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I hear you.
You know, I would like to elaborate on what you were talking about, right? You know, a lot of the problems that the youth and we dealt with was being ignorant to the law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we as black men, you know, we need to give our sons, our daughters, our nephews, cousins, brothers, fathers, we need to give them an introduction to law so they'll know what they're up against. You know, not to say that they're breaking the law or they're criminal, because, you know, these people have been setting us up for years.
Like a crab cake, I mean. Do you call something a crab cake?
You know, They've been setting us up for years. And what I mean by that, they'll give us petty crimes in the state. They'll give us petty crimes in the state. So later on, when the federal government does come in, guess what? They hit you with that 924 C, they hit you with that 924 E, you know, and they give you the boot. You know, I studied my case. I didn't study a bunch of law, but I studied 922G, 924E. I studied those. Why? Because that's what was going to get me out of prison. You know, but you have Rico, you have CCE, and those conspiracy. You know, those crimes carry a lot of time. And, you know, they're giving you a conspiracy by yourself. How does that work?
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I see my brother OG Sonny Blanco is on there. Drop a link so Sonny Blanco would like to come up because he's a very intelligent brother and he's on some positive time as well with his YouTube channel. So check him out at OG Sonny Blanco. Pull brother Sonny Blanco up. Drop him a link. Sonny, if you'd like to come in, you're welcome to come in. Brother Gangster Lou, if you'd like to come in, you're welcome to come in. You know what I mean? The link is in the comment, big brother. But now, I want to say this. You heard what Yusuf just said? He studied the law for 924G because that's what was going to get him out. I studied the law for CCE because that's what was going to get me out. When you get locked up, now it's time to save yourself. I done paid a lawyer $80,000 to go to trial, $120,000 for my appeal, $200,000, and they went home every night to lay down with their wife and play with their kids and kiss them goodnight when I had to lay in a cell and miss my kids and look at pictures. So I knew that I had to put my energy into getting my freedom by studying the issue that applied to me. Just like Brother Yusuf said, he studied the issue that applied to him. So y'all understand, I'm telling the youth, you don't want to go to prison. You don't want to have to do none of that. None of that. You understand what I'm saying? Just so you understand. So don't violate the law. You know what I mean? Stay out of the groups. If they say that that's a law, follow the rules so you don't wind up where we was at. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we got my brother Sonny Blanco up here. I'm going, hey, Sonny, you got to show your face. I don't do the profile thing. So if you want to show your face, you're willing to come on, you're more than welcome so the people could see who's talking and hear it straight from the horse's mouth instead of looking at a picture of who you are. Because like I said, it's a positive channel. I want them to know we have positive people like Sister Justina, Brother Yusuf, and Brother Jojo Capone. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to come up, big brother. But now, you know, we had to study the law for what applied to us. You understand what I'm saying? To get us out of prison because nobody was going to try and help us. Nobody was going to try and help us. You know what I mean? But like I said, my brother Sonny Blanco got a good channel where he speaks positive as well. You know, he got the New York accent. So if you want to hear the New York accent and hear what's going on, go check out my man Sonny Blanco. But, you know, that's where we at, man. And I just try and keep this real because if I'm going to show my face, I want everybody else to show their face. We ain't got no reason to use what they call, whatever they call that they use, you know, a thumbnail with your picture. But that's where we at, you know? So Sonny Blanco is getting ready to get dressed so he could come in and he could give you his wisdom because that's a good brother. You know what I mean? But, you know, we have a comment on the screen. Yusuf, read that comment for me, big bro.
Where we at?
On the screen. Or Justina.
I can't see it.
Justina, could you please read that comment?
The Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, also known as RICO, is a part of the Organized Controlled Crime Act of 1970, and it changed the way federal officials prosecuted criminal organizations. In 2012, Illinois passed the State Street Gang RICO Act, designed to empower local and state officials to round up suspected gang members and en masse and charge them as members of criminal organizations, which usually equates to life.
Okay, now, I want to speak on Young Thug and Gunna. They implemented the state Rico on them. I'm letting everybody know firsthand because I've been through it. 26 years in federal prison. You know, God willing, these brothers beat these charges because I don't wish prison on anyone, not even my enemies, nor the people that testified against me. You understand what I'm saying? Let's say it again. I do not wish prison on anyone, not even my enemies, my opposition, or anyone against me that testified against me. You understand what I'm saying? So I pray these brothers beat these charges because they need to be home with their families and loved ones. And yes, we know they allegedly did a bunch of bad acts. You know what I mean? But they're young. They made mistakes like I made mistakes at their age. Now I'm twice their age because I spent the other half of my life in prison. So I would never wish that on anyone, not even the people that testified against me. Let's get that straight. You know what I mean? Now, I'll say that to say that these guys, Young Thug and Gunna, God willing, they beat these state charges. But I'm letting y'all know first that I'm telling you this, that they're going to bring them up on federal racketeering charges. Because the way the law work is, the feds could always pick up whatever the state didn't do and know it's not double jeopardy because we're talking about two jurisdictions. So they're going to listen to all the evidence from the state trial. You know what I mean? God willing, they beat those. Then they're going to bring them up on federal charges. And even if they get convicted, if they don't get life or the prosecutor is not satisfied with the amount of time they get, let's say they get 80 years in the state. They might say, we want to make sure these brothers never get out. So then they're going to bring them up on what they call federal RICO racketeering charges. Am I right or wrong, Sister Justina?
Yes,
so these brothers have a big fight ahead of them.
And you know what that's called, Unique?
What's that, brother?
They'll change one word and they'll call it dual jurisdiction. So they can prosecute you.
Explain dual jurisdiction to them.
They can prosecute you in the state. They can prosecute you in federal court. They can use the same police report, just change a word. Let's just say I can charge you with distributing in the state and charge you with trafficking in the federal. Use the same police report, hit you with dual jurisdiction, and it's legal for me to give you two separate sentences. You can't do nothing about it.
So y'all understand that. Just to let you know, stay out them streets, man. It's not worth it. That's what this channel is about. You know what I mean? That's what the people on this panel is about, trying to prevent you from going into prison and keeping you on the street. Right or wrong, Sister Justina?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I'm grateful to be on here with you, brothers. God bless you. Thank you. It's always a blessing to connect with brothers, to get the message out. Again, I can only communicate how God intended for me to communicate. I'm not a man. And as we know, men listen to men. Just that simple. So
one thing about it, you're a woman and you are heard.
Which is a blessing. Thank you. One of the solutions that I actually posted was wininnovators.com. We have a National Department of Labor registered apprenticeship training program in 30 plus occupations, specifically focused in cybersecurity, IT, AI, in addition to hands-on construction trades. One of our goals is to ensure access in the community. Why? Because with that 1 year apprenticeship journeyman card, I'll put it back up. It's www.wininnovators.com. And we are a minority-owned national department, United States Department of Labor registered apprenticeship training program. We are basically, we're not competing with the unions, let's be clear. What we are doing, and we're not competing with the junior colleges or the universities. What we are doing is giving direct access to people in our communities. They don't have to travel to the suburbs to participate in a union apprenticeship training program. if that makes sense. They're still paid the journeyman progressive wage, no different than they would be paid if they had to travel an hour or two to actually become, get in that pipe fitters apprenticeship training program. The difference, we're eliminating the red tape for people to be in position to, a lot of times you have to take the compass test. Straight out of jail, you have so many people who are corralled into these 100+ orientations. And I know you all are familiar with this, these job orientations, right? You go through the process, they meet their numbers, but you never hear back from them. 6 months to a year later, they call you back to go through their orientation process again. This goes on for years. And if Brother Jojo was on the call right now, he could attest to the fact that the Safer Foundation is one out of the city of Chicago in particular, where they bring people in by the droves, but they don't actually get hired. We're getting people hired. A 4 to 6 week, even a 10-week pre-apprenticeship training program has placed my former students in $65,000 a year project management positions. Okay. So again, since we know that there are crimes of poverty in the community because our people don't have basic access. We're not asking for handouts. We're asking for access. Access means no red tape for enrollment. Access means you don't have to read at the 9th grade level or do math at the 9th grade level to simply participate in this journeyman construction craft labor program that's going to pay you $15 an hour while you learn. And then we're going to partner you with an employer partner. So by the time you graduate out of our program, you're at that $36 an hour wage, regardless if you're reading at the 6th grade level or not. As long as you can pass the competencies for that apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship training program, you're certified and you've graduated from a registered apprenticeship training program. Real quick, with that said, once you graduate from the actual apprenticeship training program, and let's say it's just 1 year, you get a journeyman card. You can take that journeyman card to a junior college, and you still have to take the enrollment exam, but that journeyman card equates to an associate's degree. And a lot of people don't know that. So you spend 1 year you spend, let's say, 6 weeks in a pre-apprenticeship training program. You say, I like it. You go through the pathway to become in the actual apprenticeship training program for 1 year. You complete it based on the competencies. Let's say, like most of our people, we're brilliant. You complete the 1 year program in 6 months. Well, based on the competency, not the time, you get that journeyman card, you graduate, you go on to the junior college, you take your enrollment and placement. You might only need 3 to 6 hours to complete your associate's degree. It's a life changer, to say the least.
Definitely, yeah.
And you don't have to stop at the associates. You can get your bachelor's. Keep in mind, you're already working in the industry because we've placed you with an employer partner, prayerfully, who will hire you in the industry.
Okay, like Derek, read the screen, sis, so you can see your flowers and get your flowers because it seems like you're ready to go.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
Read the screen. We have people that's giving you your flowers.
Derek Easterday, shouts out to you. She's dropping gems for real.
Thank you, brother. God bless you, brother Derek.
And that's what we bring on here. We bring on gems. Look at this beautiful diamond we have up here that have an intelligent mind. You know what I mean? That's enlightening you on what is going on. I want to give a shout out to my brother Hassan Campbell. He tapped in. Big shout out. He's been helping me a lot, behind the scenes. I appreciate you. And, my thing is, man, put all your personal differences aside and let's save the youth. If you care about the youth, let's save the youth. And that's why I respect Hassan, because that's what he's about. That's why I respect JoJo, because that's what he's about. That's why I respect Gangsta Lou, because that's what he's about. That's why I respect 10 Toes Down, because that's what he's about. You know what I mean? Regardless, whatever happened on the side with their lives, that's on that. But they know when they come to Unique that we here to save the youth, man. So there's another brother. Make sure y'all check out Hassan Campbell at YouTube. Make sure you check out 10 Toes Down at YouTube. Follow my man Gangsta Lou. Make sure you follow my man OG Sonny Blanco on the joint, because that's what we're about. You know what I mean? I mean, we're all trying to get to the same, goal. You understand? Even though we might have different obstacles, you know what I mean? Or different, people that, we consider ops or whatever. The end of the day, I love that the brothers respect me enough to put all their differences aside. And when they come on here, we're saving the youth. You understand what I'm saying? Right or wrong, sister? Please speak on that, what I just said. I love when you speak, first of all.
Thank you, brother. My sons, speaking from after, talking to them, spending time with them, the 21 and the 22-year-old, they're coming from the little bibby generation, the G Herbo, and I'm trying to bring up the young brother where it was just a little bit chaotic nationally back in like 2015, 2016 from Chicago, from the South Side. A lot of pill popping going on, a lot of drugs going on, to say the least. The youth don't feel that their voices are heard. When I talk to my sons, hey, will you bring your guys out? Some of them have been my former students after working in the Chicago public school system and drafting the parent university model alongside Dr. Jackson. All of us are from the hood. We're all from the West Side. We just happen to be blessed to, be in position. But don't get it twisted. We're not allowing a situation of the have and the have-nots. So as I speak to my sons, I'm like, ultimately, how do we get the youth to come out? And he's like, well, jobs. But here's the thing. If they are not in position to actually sit still, okay, and work and follow basic directions, how do we train up our young people to be in position to do that, right? Well, a lot of them, they don't want to necessarily go the regular job route. They want to open businesses. Let's be clear. And the truth of the matter is that's what we should continue to pour into. What are their ideas and how can we help them open businesses? My son right now, he started his own trucking company at 22 years old, okay? A tow truck company. He bought his first tow truck. He started out buying used cars, flipping them for a profit so that he wouldn't be in the streets. Just that simple. So again, it's not about, and I've had this conversation with state legislators. They've told me, well, we tell them about the jobs. It doesn't mean that they want the jobs. Okay, fine. Then let's teach our people how to develop businesses. SBA has money open right now for the community. Brother, I would love to bring you back on the show. Next Thursday, Consumer Legal Hour with the Justice Team. We are doing a huge show about this money that is about to hit the community for small businesses, particularly minority-owned businesses in low-income communities. And the money hasn't hit yet.
Let me say this, sister. I work for an incredible organization called Credible Messengers with King Tone. I was with his father in ADX, Tone King, you know what I mean? And I'm with Grow Up, Grow Out with a brother, Joe Sanchez. And, this is what I do behind the scenes. You understand what I'm saying? I would be honored to be on the show. I would like to introduce you to them, but I want to say this to you and to them. Now, we get these loans, you know what I mean, from these governments, this money up front. And we're constantly talking to the youth how to do right. But what I feel we need to do is put the resources, take a part of that resources that we get into trying to give them an avenue so that they can make $1. Don't tell them to do right. You know what I mean? Alone. Also, show them that we have something to give them in order for them to do right. What do you think about that?
It's absolutely necessary. One, we don't want to have to give youth, we don't want to have to take loans out, okay? But nobody's looking for a handout. Let's get past that ideology that anybody owes us anything. Nobody owes us anything in this life. We are given an opportunity every single day to be better, all right? Just like you all made sure you got out of the situations that you all were in, all of us have the opportunity to do better every single day.
Let me clear that up because I might be a little too hood, so I don't understand a lot of the, the suburban lingo. What I said was that the funds that they're getting, including my organization that I work with, that I love, because I love doing what I do and I love the brothers because they're actually trying to help. I feel that a portion of those funds that's given, let's say they get $1 million grant, a $500,000 grant, a $100,000 grant. I feel a portion of that should be put aside to put revenue in the youth's pocket instead of just telling them do this, do that without giving them an out. Because during the crack era, when that crack cocaine hit, you understand what I'm saying? We gave them jobs as lookouts. Now let's give them jobs as far as how to participate and help other youth. That's what I want you to answer. That's what I said. So I didn't hear that. Maybe I missed it.
I misunderstood you. So yes, I'll answer that right now.
I thought maybe I said it wrong.
No, our programs specifically address that in the pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship. The grant funding, let's be clear, depending on what that RFP, that request for proposal is, whatever that funder is putting out there saying we'll cover, it is truly up to that grantee, the person applying for that grant, to say that we want to offer stipends to cover the youth, stipends to pay them. I was a part of that blessed process to learn investigative journalism, and I was given a weekly stipend in high school while learning investigative journalism at Columbia College. And the first time I met Barack Obama was through that program at 17 years old. I understand where you're coming from, brother. That is why we are opening up the doors to ensure that youth 14 to 16 can participate in these pre-apprenticeship training jobs programs. We unfortunately cannot, it's going to be nearly impossible to hold grantees accountable. That's what the government is supposed to be doing as far as compliance. Our company is held accountable as far as compliance with the U.S. Department of Labor. What I can say that we're doing is ensuring youth 14 to 16 have an opportunity to participate in these paid pre-apprenticeship training programs. And once they turn 16, they can then participate in a paid apprenticeship training program. And at 16, they're starting off at $15 an hour while still in school. Yes.
Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. Now we're on the right, the same conversation. Because sometimes we might be talking about two different things and we're not getting to the point. So that's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with the issue of you have a lot of young people. When I was a youth, 14 and 15, and the crack cocaine hit, brothers told me, get involved in this movement and I can help you as far as help your parents, help your brothers, help your sisters. You look out, I give you $100 a day. That was a lot of money back in the day. I give you $200 a day. If the police come, you say this and that. So I'm saying these brothers and sisters that's getting these loans and grants, I feel that the young, I might be wrong, but I'm just speaking as me from 14 years old and where I was at then. Somebody tell me, I need you to, do right, participate in these programs, do this, do that. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm broke. I'm broke. The youth is broke. So now you get somebody like JoJo said from the brotherhood, aka the gangs, that tell you if you cut this old lady in the face and you become a part of the gang, you'll be able to get some money to buy some Jordans. So now they're giving them an incentive to cut somebody in the face to get a pair of Jordans. But now we're telling them don't cut somebody in the face. You know what I mean? But we're not giving them any incentive to get some Jordans because at the end of the day, they're broke.
That's the misconception.
There you go.
That is the misconception, and that is why we're ensuring our communities have access nationally. Okay, again, when you look at all of this money that came through the American Jobs Act, when you look at all of the money that came through recently, it hasn't hit the community. Why? Because the colleges, the universities got the money, the large organizations that are directly tied to the municipalities, the workforce trade boards got the money. It doesn't hit the community because people like us don't own, we're not stakeholders. We have nonprofits, but as you understand, the compliance for nonprofits, it's it's extremely, it's a lot. It's a lot of red tape. It's extremely hard to get that funding, number one, and it's hard to maintain it. And the truth of the matter is, you can find yourself in a trap if in fact you're not in compliance with that nonprofit money through the
Okay,
federal government.
I got that. But now let me suggest this or ask this, and you can explain this to the listeners. Now, an organization get $1 million. Out of $1 million, there's nothing put aside to help the youth get some type of revenue while you're trying to tell them, listen to me, but I don't have a dime to give you. And then you got somebody in the brotherhood saying, run with me, and I have a dime to give you.
I understand everything you're saying. What we should be concerned about is, one, how did that organization get that million? What was in that RFP that they even, what was in their proposal? A lot of times they say that they're going to give stipends to the youth, and then they remove that line item and they simply contact the funder and say, we've earmarked this money for a different line item. I'm just being honest with you. Dreams are sold all day, every day with grant money. You're not supposed to get rich off of grant money. I agree with you 100%, my brother. That money should go to stipends for the youth that it should serve. It doesn't a lot of times. And that's why we're here interceding so that there will be a level of accountability.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm speaking for that broke youth watching us right now. That's saying Unique Mecca Audio, you know what I mean? Justina, Yusef, Jojo Capone, all that sounds well, but I'm still broke. Y'all living good, wearing jewels, looking like $1 million, and I'm still broke. You just told me that you're getting funded for whatever, but like you said, I like the way you explain that a lot of times it's put in there that they're supposed to give out to the youth. You know what I mean? So they can get a revenue, but then they take that out and earmark it. So I'm hearing everything you're saying. You understand what I'm saying? But this is what I think the issue is, because if someone goes to them from the brotherhood and say, I'm going to put a pair of Jordans on your feet, and then here we go saying, I'm not going to give you anything, but listen to me and go down the path that I'm giving you, and I don't have nothing to give you.
Let me kind of give you a little bit, Unique, because you know, as Muslims, we are students of knowledge, right? You feel me?
Yes, sir.
We're students of knowledge, and we're constantly searching and studying because this is our creed. And I have a friend, a partner in Atlanta, Georgia right now. Like I was telling you, the name of his organization is The Father in Me. And, you know, I grew up with this kid, and he's helping at risk youth. He has a nonprofit, and, you know, he's paying these kids out of his pocket, keep them out of the street. He's taking them to his house, teaching little black boys, our kids, how to cook, how to be a man, because you have a lot of single mothers out there. And, you know, not to say, because black women are some of the strongest women in the world. You know, I was raised by a single mother, and I turned out to be a great man. But, you know, it's certain things that women can't teach men. You understand? And it's a lot of how would I say that? You help me out. There's a lot of guys
Manipulation.
out there that take advantage of kids. You know, meaning, oh, I'm gonna work them, I'm gonna do this and do that. You know, instead of us helping them and giving them jewels. But the way we can put money in these kids' pockets, you know, we get them and show them how to run a business. You know, we show them how to hustle the right way. You know, start your lemonade stand, buy you some candy, buy you some boxes of candy, go out there in the neighborhood, sell them. You know, guys that support positive things. Come
Okay,
on,
what I'm
you.
saying now, I hear you, brother Yusef. Like I said, I'm speaking for that 14-year-old kid, Jojo. I want you to come in and help us with this. And I know Sister Justine is ready to go, but Justine, I want you to hear this so maybe you can help us understand this. Jojo, you 14 years old. You ain't got a pot to piss in. Your mother don't have a job. She's getting welfare. You understand what I'm saying? And then you got some good brothers like Unique Mecca Audio, Jojo Capone, Justina, and Yusef saying, do the right thing, do this, do that, because it is going to make you better and keep you out of prison. And then we have a drug dealer or a brotherhood member that said, join this brotherhood or join this drug dealing organization, and I'm going to put Jordans on your feet. Who do you think they're going to listen to? Let's just be honest. Maybe I'm
They're
wrong. Let's
going
get an opinion.
majority going with the money
You understand what I'm
because
saying?
they tired of going to school getting teased by the other children because they don't have on the latest fashion. Some might be smelly, musty. They don't have enough money for
You
deodorants and things of that nature. Um, so once the guy is actually trying to persuade this youth to come join his team, it's only because he know he can misuse and abuse his authority. So therefore, he know that, hey, you sit in this spot, and when they knock on the door, as they give you the money, you give them this in return. So now that child is looking like, okay, he got food, clothing, and shelter because he's in this house and he's feeling like he's becoming a man. You know what I'm saying? And he's making money in the process. So in his mind, him being aware of the word and the term independent, he's going to take that and run with it. You know what I'm saying? Because for a lot of us, as we can speak, for me, being about 10 years old, starting with bagging up, you know what I'm saying, and getting paid to bag up. So your mind is already tainted when you involve with a drug infused or family, uncles, telling you, look, man, don't let your mama and daddy know this. But it's you are sometimes the one that's persuading and asking them, look, man, I'm tired of asking them for these shoes and I can't get them, or they saying if I don't get A's and B's on my report card, I can't get them. So what could I do to get the money and buy them myself? And then I'm gonna figure out a way or whatever. I'm gonna tell my parents once they see me with the shoes and they know they didn't buy them. Either I'm gonna say it was a gift. I went and collected some cans and some bottles because it was so many hustles. You didn't have to just do nothing negative. And that's why I always enlighten the children and let them know that too, because I had a paper route job. I would go to the Jewel Osco and stand up there and take the elders groceries to the car and they give me change. I would go to the gas station across the street from there after that, and pump gas for money. I would do that along with my paper route, but my paper route was only on the weekend. So collecting the bottles up the street, uh, recycling plant. You know what I'm saying? So I would take whatever I made throughout the week from the cans and the bottles and the tops of the bottles and make money like that as well. So I was just an all around hustler for real. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, when you got brothers, older brothers and sisters, and they boyfriends getting to the money, and you like, what y'all doing? Somebody gonna tell you what's going on, or you just sitting there and watching it, and you enthused by this stuff because they got the jewelry, the cars, the clothes, and it was like it was a family outside of your family that you can go to and they had a weed spot in the building, and it's like, okay, you just bag up. So at this time, it was the corn bags, you know what I'm saying? So you just stuff these corn bags until they full. That be your job, and you gonna get $250 a day. Now you got to think, if you 10, 11 years old, $250 a day was a lot of money. So, but you seeing garbage bags full of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And as it's going, but you stashing, you learning how to stash your money, you know how to either be kind-hearted and give your money away. So now you're going to school the next day, you done bought the whole classroom candy, you know, because of course on every corner it was a liquor store or a candy store in the community. So we would go to the candy store, I'm buying everybody candy, you know, and in some cases you basically buying friendship too, because everybody wasn't having that money like that. So if you seen, well, in today's society, how we post throwback Thursday pictures, and people seeing me, I'm 10 years old, I got the full Todd one suit on with the troops on, and my uncle graduating high school, and I'm sitting there hugging him like he my son. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, that's why I enlighten the youth all the time that I'm somebody that if I'm speaking, they can listen to, because I'm not telling them what I seen somebody else do. I'm telling them what I went through and what I've done, you know, from my experience. So a lot of times now these rappers and people they looking up to, they're telling our stories. They ain't even lived this life, you know. So by the time then, you know, of course, we at this point, I notice a lot of guys that's bloggers and YouTubers, they get upset at us because we are willing to tell our own stories on our own platforms, and we creating docu-series, we creating movies, TV series, and books, you know what I'm saying, to make money. But these guys are trying to paint a narrative like we just in the way. No, we scooting y'all out the way. We don't want y'all reporting and telling our stories and monetizing off us, and then you don't even have the audacity to compensate us for it. So now that we doing it ourselves, we catching a lot of black backlash because of that. So I want to salute you for your platform. I want to salute you for your book you putting out. Hopefully it turned into a film. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody quick to say everybody got the same story, and that's not the truth. Everybody don't have the same story. It might be some similarities, but everybody's story is different. You know, for me, I was a millionaire at 13 years old. By the time I was 15, I had 4 children. Everybody can't say that. You see what I'm saying? That's not everybody's story. You know, on my own, I had my own apartments. I had 10 cars. I had the water beds, whatever parents didn't even have. The big floor model TVs, as we call them. Like, all this stuff is documented, you know, with some pictures, you know what I'm saying, that whatever the rappers at the time had on. I'm 13 years old, freshman year of high school, I got the same jewelry Slick Rick got on. You see what I'm saying? So everybody can't say that. Everybody can't produce that picture. So, you know, what I'm trying to explain to them is I wanted them to know that I didn't have no ego to collect cans, to collect bottles, pump gas, take the elders' groceries to and from the car, you know, or into their house. I didn't have a problem with doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I did have that instilled in me, you know, and in my neighborhood, Mosque Marion, you know, Elijah Muhammad's mosque is in my neighborhood. So I can walk from my house to the mosque every day if I want to build with the brothers or hear the minister speak. You know, I was able to do that. But then I also have my project community that the minister had provided buses, you know, on Sundays for me to take guys from my building to the mosque to hear his speech. So now I was able cut that off, man. Boy, his he got 1,000 dinosaurs around here. But you know, so now I didn't invaded on the children's space in their time right now. So I apologize for that. But everybody's story not the same, and it is inciting. You know, we in America, we can't be fooled by where we are. You know what I'm saying? We know what this place was built on, you know what I'm saying, off our ancestors back, you know. So if one from America is intrigued with violence and all that. Like that's not nothing new. This country, if you want to call it a country, or this landmass was built on violence. You know what I'm saying? Kidnapping and giving these people diseases and just, you know, the whole colonizing thing that we can go into that a lot of people don't like to speak on, but we want to enlighten them on every level. I don't want, you know, it used to be a group back in the days, they called themselves the intelligent hoodlums. And just like the word nigger that, you know, Tupac made, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished, you know, so we always learned how to take a negative and make it into a positive. So even with the, you know, pumping the poison in our neighborhoods, that was provided by the CIA and the government, as we see with the brother, the real Rick Ross, you know what I'm saying, his story. So that was provided by the government. So this stuff that's happening right now in Chicago, and they talking about this purge and all that, man, this stuff been going on. You know, the Reagan administration, they turned the other cheek, but why in public view acting like say no to dope and all this Jesse Jackson, up with hope, down with dope. Man, everybody was getting they boogie on with it. They was having booger sugar parties and all that, man. So we can't see our children get upset with us if we lie to them. So we got to give it to them in the raw. We got to let them know that, listen, like my mother told me, if you lie to me, I can never help you. And that stick with me to this day, because I spilt that over to my children. If you lie to me, I can't help you. So that's important, because even when cases like back in the days, like if we got pulled over or took to jail for some homicides or something, it was always a 72-hour investigation for us. So when we used to hear of California or New Orleans or wherever, they was 24 hours, they was keeping us for 72 hours. So we always was getting the shorty end of the stick out here. It's never been no break for us, you know. So I don't know who be whitewashing it or trying to make it seem or sound cool. Man, this, like I say, this has been the most segregated state in the country for I don't know how many years. Like we didn't see Caucasian people. That's why when I used to bring 16 to 18 guys from Chicago and drive them to New York, when they would see the Panamanian girls or Dominicans, you know, the first thing came out their mouth, man, y'all the prettiest Mexicans we ever saw. like you know, so they had never witnessed that much diversity in their life. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been rounding up the guys and taking them to other cities and taking them to 32 cities, you know, on my own, so they can see something outside of our projects and outside of our neighborhoods. So when people talk it, I live it. I don't do all that talking. I show you better than I can tell you. And that's who I am, you know. So it'll be more coming from me, and hopefully more coming from us as a whole. And hopefully we can do whatever we can do to show these children a better light, you know, because they having more artillery than the Army and the Navy at this point. Mm-hmm. So they really not trying to hear nothing from nobody. You know, they parents is either strung out, some in jail, or they dead. So the only people it seemed like they got a stronghold on them is the rappers. And if the rappers, it's like the blind leading the blind, because they feel like they millionaires, they big homies broke or strung out or on drugs or dead. So who it's the blind leading the blind. There's nobody to listen to. So they going off the monetary things that they seeing. And even people like us, we still having trouble reaching these children. And we personally know we was the guys that they was looking up to. So, you know, now that we saying, look, put that down, focus on this, let's clean up the neighborhoods, they looking at us like we crazy or like we got three heads, you know. But we are always able to show them examples. And that's what I do when I say lead by example. I really lead by example and show them, look, two of my younger brothers, one did 16 years in the state, one just did 15 years in the Fed. An older brother of mine, he on his 27th year in the Feds right now. And I got multiple cousins and childhood homies that's in there right now. So I'm not talking to them from a person that haven't been in them situations. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when I'm even going live, my brother a call. He actually just called earlier. You know what I'm saying? And I click him in and let him tell him himself, listen, man, I've been behind this wall 27 years. This ain't where it's at. Yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? So I do a lot of stuff like that. So just how you tell your prison stories, guys be calling me. And if I'm going live, I let them tell a prison story at this moment. You know, so with this social media, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing for those that don't know how to utilize it, because a lot of people use it for all the wrong reasons too. You know, everything is about clickbait, monetary gain. They don't care what they say, who they saying it about. If they can get some views on it and monetize on it, they gonna say it and do it. But you know, that's my piece on it. That's my stance for now. And y'all take it away from here.
Hey,
Okay.
Mr. Unique, I don't mean to cut you off, man, but I wanna tell everybody on the panel, man, you know, y'all did a great job. I appreciate your company. You know,
Likewise.
JoJo, you know, real is just real, brother. And I'm gonna give it to you like this right here. You know, I'm still fighting the scrum. Look, you know, you see this? You see that?
No, it's small on my screen.
That's his ankle bracelet.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see it now. Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still restricted, but guess what? Hey, man, I'm focused.
Mm-hmm.
I'm focused. I'm an electrical contractor. I'm out here doing what I'm supposed to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he's not letting nothing deteriorate him.
I serve my debt to society, and guess what, man? They didn't knock me down. I still smile every day. You know, I'm a family guy, and you know, prison is not the end of the story. You know, but you have to want to change. You have to want to be a better person. You know, a lot of us get in trouble, and we didn't do enough time. You know, because we still trying to play catch up. You know, and that's what a lot of the kids see out here. They see the facade, the illusion, you know, that leads to two things: jail or death. You know, I'm a firm believer in, man, I don't want my kids to grow up the way I grew up, because it's a different era. The way we grew up, it's totally different how they growing up now. You know, it's totally different, man.
Let's get hold on, Justin. Yusef, give him a picture. We grew up with one TV with two rabbit ears antennas coming off.
Yeah,
when you turn the channel on the TV, you don't even see the channel on the TV no more.
With no internet.
Tell them what we grew up with. We didn't have all this social media.
No internet. You know, projects, 30-story building.
What'd you do for entertainment, man? What did you do for entertainment? Tell them that.
You know, I grew up in New Haven. We used to go outside and bust the fire sprinkler open, the fire hydrant open. You know, that was our entertainment. Or we went and threw rocks on the train track. You know.
But when you're in the house in the winter when it's snowing out, what did you do back in 1980? Let them know that in 1982.
We tried to watch 40 years later. We tried to watch TV. We played marble.
What was on TV, Joe? What was on TV? Tell them, man.
Man, my mom, we used to have to watch the stories before we could watch anything else.
All right.
General Hospital.
General Hospital, All My Children.
Yeah, One Life to Live.
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives.
And if mom's watching that TV, we couldn't watch cartoons.
Yeah,
if I'm saying, talk to them.
You couldn't do it.
Now they got this in their hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go do
and the TV was in black and white. It wasn't even in color.
If I'm saying, let them know.
Yeah.
They don't know what we've been through. If we don't tell them, don't take it for granted that they know.
Yeah.
So they understand how lucky they are.
I not to cut you off, bro. Salute to y'all again. But once again, I got this battery issue with this phone, and it's about to cut off. So I didn't want it to cut
off too. I just wanted to let everybody know what it is, because Jesse hit a good point. You know what I mean? So that everybody know that we didn't have it like that, man.
Nah,
Y'all are blessed.
man. The kids today, they have it easy. They have it easy. Your mom, your dad, they're busting their butt to take care of y'all, man. Y'all have everything.
Mhm.
You know,
So
the kids today have everything.
all right. So right now, because we pulling up on 2 hours. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let y'all know. I just wanted to make this an educational, a jewel dropping conversation for those that really want help. So I don't care about getting 10,000 views, 100,000 views. If one young man or woman is watching this and got something from what Justina shared, Brother Yusef said, or Brother Jojo Capone shared, or what Unique shared, then my mission is accomplished. But I'm going to give y'all what y'all want maybe tomorrow night. Bring my man Yusef up here to tell about some of the horror stories, because that's what they like, Justina. They like the horror stories. But I like to interject, you know what I mean? The reality of the struggle so they understand what we felt with. Because we cried in prison. We might not have cried physical tears, but we cried emotional tears watching our kids grow up.
Yeah.
In pictures.
Yeah, man.
That's what this program is about. But Yusef, we're gonna give them something. We're gonna give them something, you know, what they want, but I wanted to give them what I felt they needed. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what they needed, so they understand.
I truly enjoyed myself.
All right. Sister Justina, would you like to close out? Tell them who you are, what you represent, where they can find you, plug all your things you got going on. I've been on here long enough. I'm an old man. I got to get some rest.
Again, I am a sister from the west side of Chicago, grew up in the Austin community in K-Town. Let's be clear. Yes, I grew up in K-Town and Humble Park. So I'm a lifelong West Side resident. I'm blessed to be a conduit to politics, government, and the community. Mm-hmm. We can look up conduit in the Bible, and that's what I am, period. With that said, again, although I might look like this, I might speak this way, I'm still from the hood. That never changes. It's deeply rooted. It's there. That doesn't go anywhere. I will always advocate for my people, for our communities, for everybody who looks like us and everybody else, no doubt. But I have to make sure that at the end of the day, our people have a voice. And that's why I'm involved in politics and public policy, to ensure that working with brothers like you all, working with brothers like JoJo, that the information comes to the people and to the streets and the community directly to the media through a conduit like me, who has a background in PR. Factual information, not the CNN, MSNBC, Fox News rhetoric. Mm-hmm. Factual information that our people can understand. And as public policy translators, which is basically what you all are, right? Our brothers and sisters can definitely take that message in 3 bullet points and take it back to the next brother and sister so that we all understand what's really going on behind the scenes and how to be preemptive and not reactive. We have to be proactive and catch it on the front end and no longer on the back end.
Okay, where could they follow you at and find you?
All social media, Winning with Winfrey, Justina Winfrey. You can reach me at JLW@JustinaWinfrey.com or info@JustinaWinfrey.com, info@WinInnovators.com, Workforce Innovation Network.
Okay, so that's where we at. Justina, I would like you to try and get me your sons or your neighborhood, some people from Chicago, so the youth in their 20s, you know what I mean, 18 and up, to come on here so that they could talk to me, Brother Yusef, Jojo Capone, so that they could ask their questions to us as one of the comments said, what is that? BF Entertainment. You know what I mean? What did he label us as? I think it was Global Gangster. I don't know where it's at to put it up. I ain't that good at it. You know what I mean? Oh, I think this is it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that we could talk to the youth one-on-one instead of them listen to an old man like me and a young, woman like yourself. You know what I mean? We need to talk to some of the youth and hear what they have to say. And I know my brother Yusef got a lot to say to them. And so does JoJo and yourself. So if you can help me get some of the youth up here, you mentioned something about Thursday night. You got my number now. Feel free to use it. We can put it together and we make it happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother, for having me on the show this evening. And it's a pleasure to meet you, brother Yusef. I look forward to working with the both of you all.
Thank you very much.
All right, Yusef, tell them who you are and where we can find you at on social media.
Well, my name is Jesse Witherspoon. That's my social media. The Father in Me. That's the organization that I'm a part of. You have my number.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, man. You need me. Hey, I'm an advocate. I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm just like, I love my people.
All right. And I'm Unique Mecca Audio. Check out the book. You want to know about the crack era? Justina, you just meeting me. Trust me, the book is bananas. Got 4.5 stars on Amazon. Read the comments. I let it be known what it was like growing up during my era and crossing over into the drug era because I didn't have any guidance like what we're trying to give them today. We are trying to give them today to prevent them to be sitting here writing a book 40 years from now with the new social media that they got that's in their glasses instead of on a phone. Because they're going to have all types of technology that we're going to miss if we go sit in prison for 26 years. So I'm telling the youth, don't do it. You know what I mean? And I want to thank my assistant for helping me out and everyone else for helping me out. And, it is what it is. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. And I'm going to give you a show with me and Jesse and JoJo where we're going to share prison war stories. That's what y'all want to hear. But tonight, I just felt like giving a positive message and bringing Sister Justine up here to break down that alleged purge law that they're putting in effect. Was that said properly, sis?
Absolutely.
All right. So God bless y'all. I'm out, and y'all have a good night. All right.
Have a good one, man. Y'all have peace. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.